Welcome to the Women Leaders Association podcast, where we believe we go further, faster, and have more fun when we go together. Be sure to tune in each week to hear an empowering message from the world's top women executives, trailblazers, entrepreneurs, and all-around fierce female leaders. I'm your host, Julianne Kirkland, and I will be taking you on a deep dive of each message to equip you with the principles, strategies, and tools you need to start crushing your goals, increasing your impact, creating work-life harmony, and did I mention have more fun? Because when you love what you do it better. The Women Leaders Association is the world's largest women executives association with over 30,000 women in executive and leadership positions who are committed to the development and advancement of women in the corporate arena. If you would like to get involved in a Women Leaders Association chapter, would enjoy daily podcasts, or you desire to become a part of the Women's Mastermind group near you, simply go to womenleaderspodcast.com. Now let's tune in for this incredible message. Hey, welcome back to the Women Leaders Podcast. I am so excited to be with Miss April today. Welcome, April.
Woohoo! It is so good to be here. Hey, y'all.
So I have to say, I met April last year in person at a Women Leaders Association event, and she was emceeing, and she's just one of those people that like you instantly love. You know, like you're just drawn to because she exudes that love for other people. Like she truly sees people. And you can't help but be captivated by that. So I'm so excited you're with us today.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It is such a treat, and it warms my heart to hear you say it because I really do love people.
You do.
I mean, I think of like, on Miss Congeniality, which is like, I really do want world peace. I mean, I really do. And I really do love people. Yeah. And I used to, for a long time, I used to think like that didn't make me like strong. And, you have to be like strong woman and all this stuff. But like the reality is that my strength, that is where my strength is.
Yeah.
Like that is what makes me a strong person, is that I love people for real, and I love them deeply and strongly, and I'm blessed that something in me enables that to happen.
Yes.
I just find it to be a blessing, and so I appreciate that it comes out authentically and real. It means a lot to me. It means a lot.
And it's so true. I love, like, we had no expectations for where this episode's going today. We were just like, we're going to get on and have amazing conversation. And then the audience is just going to be like, yeah, let's go hang out with them. Right. We're just being real with you ladies today. But one of the things that, I get complimented on, and just the other day, somebody was like, what do you feel like your superpower is? Like, you, to me, have so much energy and just, you bring this presence. And I'm like, I would have to say my superpower, I'm like air quoting if you're not watching on YouTube, is encouragement. And that feels so, it's kind of like you were saying, right? It feels so, not tangible, right? But it is a superpower, especially in today's society where people are so divisive and, so trying to bring out all the things that we can be offended about. And so it's really cool to be able to come in and like, hey, you know what? I might not agree with everything that you're doing or how you're doing it, but I love you anyway.
Right.
And like, I want to see you succeed with what you want to do and be the best version of yourself.
I love that. And I love the superhero piece. We do a thing here where I work at Dignify. We do a thing called creating your personal purpose, and it's kind of walking people through, and we do this with, business people and individuals certainly too, but we walk them through their story. We literally, like, they tell us their life story, if you will. And through their life story, we recognize and help them pull out their personal purpose. Like, because my story is my history. It has built me to who I am. And we talk about your who, your what, and your how. And when we refer to your who, we always talk about, it's like, if you were a superhero, what would be on your cape?
Right.
Like, what would you have on your cape? Right. Yeah. And I love it because I think we all have superpowers, and we have different superpowers, right? Yes. We don't all have the same thing. And, my personal purpose, or my who, is the truth advocate. That's actually what my who is the truth advocate. So that's what I wear on my cape. And it's because I really strive to help people accept who they truly are,
Yeah.
and celebrate who people are, and everything that makes them who they are, like every aspect of our story, whether you had, a Lifetime movie story, or you had a Hallmark, right,
Right.
story, whatever it
Right.
is, right? We all have a story, and it's important to advocate for yourself and that story. It's important to accept and create, and just be true to who
Mm.
you are. And it's such
Yeah.
a journey, especially for women, I think. Not that it's not difficult for men. Don't get me wrong, guys, I feel you. Okay. But it is such a journey for women, because we get pulled in so many different directions, and we think, because I'm being pulled in all those different directions, I have to be something else. And you
Yes.
don't.
You
You
don't.
just get to be you, going in lots of directions. And
Yes.
when you get that, it's so ripping cool. Like, it is
Hmm.
awesome to
Yeah.
be like, hey, this is me. I'm April, and I'm going that way. And I'm April, I'm going that way. And I'm going that way. And I'm going. But
Yeah.
you get it. But it
Yeah.
takes work, and it takes a lot to get there. And that's, for me, I know, like, my superpower is just being good with who I am, because then I can be good with who you are, and
Hmm.
see the beauty, just this, like, incredible piece of art that
Yeah.
is life.
So true.
And so I love it, and I think that's part of what makes it a little easier, maybe, for me to just love people where they're at.
Hmm.
See, my grandma always said, you have to always look for the greatness in people, April. You can't ever stop looking for the greatness in people. It was the best advice she ever gave me,
Good
ever.
grandma.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh,
Yeah.
seriously, good grandma. And I've just lived by that my whole life, and I think it's part of why I can love people,
Hmm.
because I do see greatness in all people. I can
Yes.
see it,
Yeah.
and it's fun.
Yeah. It really is this superpower because so much, and I did my TED talk on this last year of, people feeling exactly like you're saying that, oh, well, when I'm a mom, I show up this way, right? When I'm in my work, I show up this way. Well, when I'm in relationship, I show up this way. But the truth is, if you're suppressing certain parts of yourself in order to meet other people's expectations of how you should be showing up, then like suppression leads to depression, my friends. Like you
Yes.
will at some point start to crumble apart on the inside, feeling
Mhm.
like I don't know who I am, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do it, right? And you're left with this like, whoo. And so
Yeah.
I love that we have these kind of conversations, right? Because they are so important. And now people have this resource to be able to go and go, I need to be in April's world. So
Come and
April,
see me.
I know. So how did you get started with Dignify? Talk a little bit about your journey there.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I just celebrated 7 years with Dignify, and I just cannot tell you how much I love. I wake up every morning thinking, I can't believe I get to do this. Like, I'm thrilled, and I'm blessed that I don't wake up thinking, oh my God, I got to go do that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
and I don't take it for granted. That's not my world, but I came into it really as somebody that was using the system. I worked for a local football coach, and we were using Dignify. Then it was called the About Me card, to help understand our football team. Actually, we had this
Very good.
great group of young guys. It was a high school team, super talented young men, just great guys, but we were losing,
Mm,
right? And we had to get to the bottom of, like, why this was not working.
right.
They had every potential was there, and we were losing games. And
Mm,
so we dug into this process, and through that process we met Joe, who's our brander in chief here. And we met him, and he's, I got this thing, and he was telling us a little bit about it. We met through servant leadership, and I was just like one of those clients that came in, and we used the system, and we loved it. And we kept using it, you
yeah.
know? But the cool thing is that Joe, I've known Joe forever. He was in theater and he was in kind of like the entertainment world a little bit too before he came into and started running his business. And I'm from that world as well. I mean, if you haven't guessed, I got a little bit of drama in me. I mean,
Well, me
just
too.
a bit, you know. And so I came from the theater world. I love theater. It was the place that I found me. Was in theater as a young person, not fitting in anywhere.
Mm,
I was a mixed kid. These curls are real sisters and brothers. They're real. My dad is African, my mother is Caucasian, and I was this mixed kid that didn't fit in with the colored kids, and I didn't fit in with the white kids, and I just didn't have a space and place, and then found theater and
yeah.
found that I could express myself all kinds of ways in
Mm,
theater. And I happen to have a very big, bold, strong voice. And so I sing. I'm a vocalist. That's my other passion. And so Joe and I had crossed paths in these different areas, but I didn't know that he was doing this and that kind of thing. And I was teaching. I was teaching at a local studio, and all three of his girls ended up in my shows and in my
wow.
classes. So we just kept passing,
Yeah.
right? And I love that. I love when that happens. No reason, but we just keep passing, right? And so we got in this, and then of course we tried the About Me card, and Joe said, someday I'm going to need another person like me. I'm going to need somebody who's going to go out and do this. And when that time comes, when I'm at that point, I'm going to find you because I think you are supposed to be with us.
Mm,
And I said, well, come and find me. When time comes, come and find me. I'm sure I'll be somewhere doing something, you know?
right.
And he did. That was 7 years ago. He reached out and he said, hey, we're ready to take this to a new level. And I want you to come in and help me put together an organizational health program that really focuses on communicating with people with dignity, and really helping leaders grow confidence,
Mhm.
and empower people to really live who they really are. Do you want to help? And I was like, yeah,
Sure do.
do. I do.
Yeah.
What you need.
Yeah.
And literally that was, I mean, and now we just released Dignify 2.0, which is our new software system, and which we're totally stoked about, of course. And we do lots of coaching and lots of team building and that type of thing. But every day is a day to feed into somebody. Every day
Mm,
is a day
so
to
true.
find a way to empower the people in our circumference. That's what I call, for leaders. Like sometimes people will say, April, I don't have a team. Like I don't lead direct reports, right? I go, oh, sister, brother,
Right.
you're a leader. You have a
Absolutely.
circumference.
Yeah.
You have a place that in which you reside, which you take up space, and the
Yeah.
space around you can be influenced by you
So true.
all the time.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to influence and lead so many places, and so
Mhm.
in that circumference, and it's just been, I mean, it's been a wild ride. We are just, I mean, we're thrilled. We're thrilled that we get to do this.
Yes.
We don't have to do this. We
Right. You get
get
to.
to do this.
Yeah.
And I love it. I just love it.
Hmm. Talk a little bit about the dignity piece. Yeah, I mean, yes, the
Yeah.
program's named Dignify, but talk a little bit about the dignity piece
Yeah.
because that is such a underlying current through everything that y'all do is holding yourselves with dignity in how you act, and then also seeing and bringing forth the dignity in others. Talk a little
Yeah.
bit about that.
Yeah. Dignity is cool, right? We don't really think about it, but we are affected by it
Yeah.
in every single thing that we do and everything that comes our way. But otherwise we don't really think about it. And dignity, defined as to be worthy of honor and respect,
Hmm.
right? They come together, Webster's dictionary. And worthy of honor and respect. And what I love about it is that it's two different elements. Sometimes we kind of put those two words together and we think, oh, they're the same, but they're actually not, right? Respect, which is the word that most people would use. If I said to you, how do you want to be treated? Most people would probably say, well, I want to be treated with respect.
Right.
And of course there's other things, kindness, honesty, right? Like we can throw some things out there, right? But respect is really learned behavior.
Hmm.
It's not innate. Just ask one of your quadruplets there,
Right.
that you have, right? Like, I mean, when they were little, it's not like it came natural for
Right.
them to say please, thank you, right? Or to not interrupt. When I first started this whole team building thing, I used to have stickers all the way around my screen that said, do not interrupt, do not interrupt, do not interrupt, do not interrupt, right? Why? Because I'm an interrupter. I interrupt, but I had to learn that it doesn't work for everybody, right? If I interrupt people, it's disrespectful. I know that, right? I just get anxious. I
Right.
get
You're
so
excited.
excited,
Share. Yeah.
right? But we're taught those things. Those are the things that we're taught when we're little. Respect your elders, right? Honor is intrinsic.
Yeah.
Honor is something that lives deep.
Hmm.
Like it's in the core of who we are.
Hmm.
That's where that's honor, right? And that's where dignity lives
Yeah.
as well, right? It lives in the very core of who we are. When we show honor to somebody, we're not just saying I'm glad you're here. We're saying I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
You know, when folks walk by in an airport and dressed in their fatigues, right? You see them. You might not even notice that your body adjusts
Mm.
itself, right? Why? Because it is natural to honor that. You see that when people say, thank you for your service, and those kinds of, it's honoring. We honor those that have served, right? We honor that. Honor is so different. They're not the same.
Hmm.
And so dignity really is built with both of them,
Yeah.
and it lives in us. And so when somebody, I like to call it, they ding your dignity. Okay. Because, well, it happens,
It's
right?
true. Yeah.
When I'm teaching in some of my classes, which I love, of course, I sometimes use an example. I talk about I have boys. I blended this family. Was a single mom for 15 years, and then blended a family, and got a bunch more boys, and so I was a mom of boys, and they break things,
Yeah.
and they run into things, and they put holes in things, and
Hmm.
they leave food places.
They're sticky all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
I
they're
get you. I
sticky all
get
the
you.
time. I digress, right?
Right.
But I talk about this idea about a dignity ding. When we ding somebody's dignity, it could be a big ding,
Hmm.
right? And I would say, like, my son, who I adore, Brandon, is big. He's a big dude. Okay. And when he tried to jump to knock his brother off the top of my brand new van, that's as much as we're going to go there. He put a dent in my van, the size of Brandon.
Right. Brandon Ding.
Okay. It's a big
Right.
ding,
Right.
right? And my van immediately went down in value.
Mm. Mm.
Instantly, it went down in value, right? When we ding somebody's dignity,
Yeah.
a big ding, we know that these are the things that they need. They need to feel like they're a part of something. They need to feel like they're, if we've worked on a project with them and we have a set plan, they know what it is. And you walk into a meeting and then your team member like changes the game
Mm.
and catches you off guard and you didn't even know, you're like, wow. Wow. Or you have a certain way that you believe and somebody just totally disses it when they know that that's how you believe. It doesn't matter if they believe it or not, but they
Right.
know how you believe, and then
Right.
they just diss it right in front of you and you're like, "Wow,
Yeah.
you went there?"
Right.
Right? Like big ding.
Yeah.
Big ding. And I feel like, "Wow, you don't actually value me.
Hmm.
You don't value me very much." Right? It's immediate,
Yeah.
right? But here's the deal. Most of the time, they may not be big dings like that. Okay.
Right.
But I have another son. You'll see. Like I said, I have all boys. I have another son, leaves his car out, right? I said, pull it in. We're going to have a storm. Leaves the car out. It storms. The rain comes, right? It hails, and his car is plummeted with hail, and he has a whole bunch of little dings,
Yeah.
right? Value of his car still went down.
Yeah.
Immediate. Doesn't matter if it's a big ding or a whole bunch of little dings. When we
Right.
ding people's dignity, it takes away their value.
Mm-hmm.
It says, I don't really value you very much. And we see more of that in the workplace and in our families and in our friendships. Let's face it, like across the board,
Right.
right? We see more of that than maybe the big giant ones,
Right.
right? That person that just always maybe feels like you're not giving your best effort, even though they know that you have a situation at home that they have never had to deal with for one moment of their life,
Right. Right.
right? And yet they can't show a little bit of empathy.
Right.
They can't cover something on your behalf,
Right.
right? Like we all gotta get along to get along,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's dignity. When we treat people with dignity, when we use dignified behavior at work, when we can show empathy, when we can not just show respect but honor you because you're a human,
Yeah.
you know, and you have something to bring to the table. You have value.
That's
Your
right.
perspective matters.
Yes.
Those kinds of things. When we can start to do that, I mean, magic,
Yeah.
like incredible things happen.
So true.
Incredible things. And so the element of dignity is so vital to obviously the message that we give and the way that we share it with, the leaders that we work with. But I think just as a whole, as just a group of humans,
Yeah.
understanding that dignity is at the very core of who we are, and so it matters
Mhm.
how we treat people,
Yeah.
right? And that whole, I love the golden rule, treat people the way you want to be treated. I love the platinum rule, what they're calling now the platinum rule, maybe even a little bit more.
Mm.
Treat people the way they want to be treated,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because the way I want to be treated may not be the same way that you want to be treated because
Right.
you have a whole different set of circumstances,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know? And we have to be able to look at that. That is dignity.
Yeah.
That's dignity. At least for us, that's how we see dignity.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the best pieces of advice ever given to me is, I want you to bring all of who you are to the table, right? I'm not going to judge you on the bad of your bad ideas. I'm going to judge you for the good of your good ideas, right? You should be able to present everything that you have, knowing that they are going to search for the best in you and not judge you on the things that maybe aren't your best, because I
Yeah.
think, again, back to that, we kind of hide things and we say, okay, I can't show up fully this way because of XYZ of other people's expectations. And so to the person that's listening right now, it's like, man, I have felt that exactly what she's talking about. And I have been pummeled with these little dings, right? And so like, April, how would you tell her to move forward? How would you tell her would be her next step?
It's so good. Um, I'll start with a really great advice that someone gave me when I was in a state of kind of feeling like nobody was treating me well. When I felt like I was always having my dignity dinged.
Mm,
You know, and they said to me, April, you have to remember, you teach people how to treat you.
yes, yes, yes.
And that was like mind blowing for
Yeah.
me because I didn't realize I had a choice.
Hmm.
I didn't realize that I had a part to play
Yeah.
in how I could be treated
Yes.
particularly in the workplace.
Right.
And so to that woman that is maybe struggling with that or feeling like, oh my gosh, I get my dignity dinged all the time. We have to begin to communicate with one
Mhm.
another. I call it bridging. We have to find ways to bridge to the people that we work with so that you can have those conversations and dialogues about, I'm this kind of person. And
Right.
so when something is said like this, it actually makes me feel like you might think I'm stupid.
Right.
Just an example, right?
Mhm.
And then I just, wow, I don't think that's what you mean, but sometimes that's what it feels like,
Right. And
right?
then it
And under,
opens the door to allow
yeah,
them to be like, oh, I no, because they might be such a like direct thinker, direct shooter, then they might not realize to give you um a course correction, right? That you need a little sugar before that.
Yes. So I might need a little bit and you might not, and that's
Right.
okay.
Exactly.
But I might need a little bit. And we talk a lot about like, intentions versus our actions, right? My
Mhm.
intention is not to hurt your feelings, to make you
Right.
feel stupid. If I'm giving you that direction, that's not my intention. But if my action is read like that, then that might be how you receive it, right?
Right. Then it
And
doesn't really matter what your intention was because it wasn't received that way.
because it wasn't received that way. And so we have to be able to give message in a way that makes it the most receivable that it
Hmm.
can be. And when we do that, that means that we have to turn the light off of ourselves,
Hmm.
right? If I have to message something in a way that is the easiest, the best way for you to receive it, in a caring way, in a way that will point to your greatness that's within you. Now I'm not focused on me anymore.
That's right. That's
Now I'm
right.
focused on you, and I can give a message to you that will empower you and that maybe will inspire you, that will course correct you in a way that says, I'm doing this because I see how valuable you are, and
Hmm.
I want you to do the very best that you can.
Yeah.
We can't always say that, but if we can start to bridge to the way people need to hear that, I think we have opened a big door
Yeah.
into this space of cooperation and save, the whole
Yeah.
psychological safety and so many
Yeah.
other things. If we can open that door to being able to let me take it off of what I'm going to say, and let me put it on to how will you receive it
Yeah. That's right.
instead. So, but for me, it's mind blowing,
Yeah.
and it's probably the best step that I ever took, was just beginning the process of teaching others
Yes.
how I like to be treated.
Yes. And one of the great little um phraseologies that I like to use is what you permit, you promote. Right. And
Yes.
oh my gosh, my husband and I use that so often in, rearing these six kids. It's like, okay, but if we continue to, just get mad that they throw their shoes off when they walk in the door, right? And then we go and clean it up afterwards, but they would yell at them, we're allowing it to happen.
Yep.
So what we permit, we're promoting. They
Yep.
don't see really anything wrong with it. And so we're saying,
Correct.
okay, actually, our words are saying this isn't okay, but our actions are saying, well, just go ahead because we're just going to
Right.
clean it up anyway.
That's
Right. And
right.
so that sends mixed messages to the child. And so the child's going to go, well, this is easiest for me. So that's what I'm going to do. But
Yep.
you can take
And
that and apply it to everything.
to everything. It
Yes.
works for everything. And you have to know that just like when we do that with our kids, um, it actually gives them less security.
Hmm.
They actually feel less secure because they're not sure which way did you want me to go. Being able to be firm and fair, right, gives our kids security.
Yeah.
And it's no different than the people we lead. If
Yes.
we can be firm and fair, right, and empathy and equity and all those things fall into
Right.
that
Right.
category, right? They can feel safe.
Yeah.
They can
Yeah.
feel safe. And when somebody feels safe with you, they're willing to go on the journey with you
So true.
when you feel safe.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love that. And being clear in that way is kind, right? Being very clear and one, you as the person, right? To the woman that's listening that's like, what do I do next? Right? Being very clear with yourself of, wait a second, where have I really allowed people to continue? Where have I not stood up for myself? And it doesn't even have to be like throwing bows in the office, right?
Thank
it's
you.
it's
Thank
just
you.
opening the door of conversation and
Yes.
and remain curious with people. That has always been such a bridge, right? Like you're talking
Yep.
about, just ask questions. Hey, when you say it this way, do you mean it that way? And not accusing somebody of like, well, you're
Correct.
doing it this way, and so I take it this way, right? Just
Correct.
remain curious and ask those questions because people generally want to do better. Like they want to help. They want to be the person that shows up and that helps. And so when you can ask a question, one, the brain, neurologically speaking, wants to answer, right?
Yes.
And so when you pose it as a question like that and that curiosity, people are more likely to answer you.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, and I'm certainly not, trying to like, let's all get around a garbage can and take off, you
Right.
know where I'm going on that. Okay. That's not my point. But as women in the workforce, I think the only way that we can break maybe some of the stereotypes that have been around for years and years, like if you raise your voice or if you make a scene or if you da 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 da, like you're out of line. The only way that we can change that stereotype is to begin to do it differently,
That's right.
to begin to be straightforward and honest about it and ask questions and bring it up, but bring it up in a way that is still dignifying.
Right.
That I don't have to do something vulgar. I don't have to do
Right.
something really nasty.
Right.
I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that because that's not who I am.
Right.
That's not who I am. So be who you are
Right.
and then respond to those things that happen in who you are,
Hmm.
and we can start to break down some of those stereotypes.
Yeah, I love that. So how do people connect with you? One, like how if they're like, oh my gosh, I need more of April in my life. How can people connect with you?
Oh, that's so great. I love when people connect with me, by the way. And so, there's a couple ways that you can connect with me. Of course, my email is easy. My email is just April J. And just so you know, I just spell it like the month. Apparently, there's several new ways that you can
Thank
spell
you for
it.
being very clear with that.
Yes, I
That's
just
very
spell it
kind.
like the month. That's
Yeah.
it. So it's just April J. It stands for April Johnson, but April J at Dignify, which is Dignify, dignify.com. You can always send me an email. I love it. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. I love all those things. You can find me on Instagram, but it's really late. Like I'm really behind. I'll just be honest. I'm just really behind. But you can find me there, and
Yeah.
I need to work on that.
Yeah.
But that's a great way to find me. And shoot me a message. Send me an email. Even if you just have a question or something, and you just
Yeah.
you want to talk. I'm in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Just so you know. I mean, I say y'all, but I'm not from the South at all. But I'm from Green Bay, and yes, I love the Green Bay Packers. And you can always come and hang out in Green Bay during football season. It is the best time of year
I
around here.
bet. I
Yeah,
bet so.
it is the
I
best.
bet it's
You,
I bet it's
you can also, you know what? I didn't think about it, but if you're looking for like a place to go or like a band to hear, I do sing with a band, so you can also find me there too. FBI, just like the FBI. I have no personal account with them, but FBI and the Untouchable Horns. We're a big funk horn band.
FBI.
So if you're in the Milwaukee area, we do play from time to time there in the Madison area and all over lots of summer. So FBI and the Untouchable Horns, that's my band, which I love.
I love it. I love it. I'm so glad that you shared that because again, right, bringing all of who you are, it matters. April, thank you so much for your time today. This has been such a great
Oh,
conversation. What's one last piece of advice or bit of inspiration that you would give to the listeners today?
oh my gosh. The last thing I'll say is the same thing that I tell myself every morning when I wake up and every night when I go to bed. Sister, you are enough.
So good.
You
So
are
good.
enough.
Yeah.
Be you because you are enough.
Yeah. And there's nobody else like you.
None.
Nobody.
No,
Nobody. No.
just ask my husband.
He'll tell. Yeah.
Yep. He's like, oh, you are wonderfully you.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
nobody else like us. So be you because you are enough.
We're going to drop the mic right there because that is just perfection. April, again, thank you so much. We'll be sure to link all of your social channels and things like that in the show notes so that y'all can get in touch with April. And if you are looking to connect with more women like April or get involved in a Women Leaders Association near you, go to womenleaderspodcast.com. That's all for now, my friends. Bye-bye.
Bye, friends.